Hello students. So we are moving towards the analysis of the last complex AC circuit. In lecture 13 we will be detailing the analysis of RLC series circuit. Now consider an RLC series circuit. In RLC series circuit, all the three elements resistor, inductor and capacitor denoted by R, L and C is connected in series and applied across a AC voltage whose instantaneous value V is equal to Vm sin omega t. Since it is a series connection, the same current I will be flowing through all the three elements. The voltage across the resistor is VR, which is equal to IR. Then voltage across the inductor is VL, which is equal to IXL, where XL is known as the inductive reactance, that is equal to L omega, or you may write it as 2 pi FL. The voltage across the capacitor VC is equal to IXC, where XC is known as the capacitive reactance. XC is equal to 1 by C omega, or you may write it as 1 by 2 pi FC. Now you should remember one thing, in RLC series circuit both L and C is present. So the behavior of voltage and current, the phase difference between the voltage and current waveform will be in accordance with the predominant nature of this circuit. If the circuit is having more inductive nature, then the voltage and current relation will be same as that of an RL series circuit. If the circuit it shows more capacitive nature, then the voltage and current relations, power relations, everything will be exactly similar to that of an RC series circuit. Now the total voltage V, that will be the vector sum of the voltage across the resistance and the vector sum of the voltage across the reactance. Here the reactance term, there are both inductive reactance and capacitive reactance. So we have to calculate the net reactance. Remember, it is not the vector sum of the three elements, but it is a vector sum of the voltage across the resistance VR and the vector sum of the net reactance. If the circuit is inductive in nature, then VL will be greater than VC. Therefore, the net reactance, it will be XL minus XC. So, the voltage will become square root of VR square plus VL minus VC the whole square. If the circuit is more capacitive in nature, which means XC is greater than XL, then the voltage will become V is equal to square root of VR square plus VC minus VL the whole square. So as said, three cases we have to deal with. The first case is when XL is greater than XC, which means that the circuit will be having more inductive reactance than capacitive reactance. So the circuit will be inductive in nature. So since it is inductive in nature, the current, it will be lagging the voltage. There will be a lagging power factor, just as in the case of an RL series circuit. Now the second condition is when XL is less than XC, or you may say XC is greater than XL. Capacitive reactance is more than inductive reactance. Therefore, the circuit, it will be showing a capacitive nature. In capacitive circuit, the current will be leading the voltage. Therefore, the power factor will be leading and the circuit will be exactly behaving like an RC series circuit. The third condition is when XL is equal to XC. When inductive reactance and capacitive reactance is equal. That time the circuit will be behaving like a pure resistive circuit. If XL and XC is same, then the net reactance will be definitely 0. Net reactance meaning either XL minus XC or XC minus XL. If both of them are same, then the net reactance will be 0. Therefore, the circuit will be behaving like a pure resistive circuit. The resistive circuit meaning the voltage and current will be in phase. So, the power factor will be unity. So, first case that we are going to deal is when the circuit is behaving like inductive, meaning it shows exactly the properties of an RL series circuit. VL will be greater than VC, or you may say that inductive reactance XL is greater than the capacitive reactance XC. So just look at the first phasor diagram. As said earlier, in phasor diagram we should begin with the current vector. Current vector I is taken as reference. So first draw the current vector OI. Then after drawing the current vector, the next vector should be the voltage across the resistor. The voltage across the resistor is VR, which is always in phase with the current. So, draw the VR vector, that is OA. Now, draw the reactance vectors, that is VL and VC. Both of them are present in the circuit. And we are assuming that the VL is greater than VC. So, look at the length of VL. That is more compared to the length of VC. So, VL is greater than VC. So, what will be the net voltage difference? If VL is greater, VC is smaller, the net difference will be VL minus VC. So, that net difference VL minus VC is nothing but AB. So, AB is VL minus VC, or it is nothing but I into XL minus XC. So, you have got the two sides of the triangle OA and AB. So, resolve it. The resultant vector, that is the resultant or total voltage, that will be OB, the hypotenuse of the right angle triangle, that is V is equal to IZ. Now from this phasor diagram we can draw the impedance diagram. Impedance diagram, just remove the current terms, so you get it as OAB triangle with the hypotenuse as a total impedance Z, the adjacent side is the total resistance R, and the opposite side, that is the net reactance. Net reactance is XL minus XC. Why? Because the circuit is behaving inductive in nature. So, XL is more compared to XC. So, the net value will be XL minus XC. So, you get this right angle triangle. The steps to draw is just what we have right now discussed. So, we have VR is IR, VC is IXC and VL is IXL. So, the total voltage will be the vector sum of the voltage across the resistance and the vector sum of the net reactance. So, V is equal to square root of VR square plus the net reactance voltage was VL minus VC, because the circuit is behaving more inductive in nature. That is the first case that we have assumed. Therefore, you should write it as VL minus VC the whole square. So, substitute for VR, VL and VC, you get it as square root of IR the whole square plus IXL minus IXC the whole square. Now, bring the common term I out of the square root. So, you get it as V is equal to I into square root of R square plus the net reactance XL minus XC the whole square, or current I is equal to V by square root of R square plus XL minus XC the whole square. So, that is nothing but the impedance term Z. Impedance is the total opposition offered to the flow of current by this RLC circuit. Its unit is always measured in ohm. So, always remember if the three elements are present, the first thing you should check is whether the circuit is behaving more inductive or more capacitive. If it is more inductive, then the net reactance will become XL minus XC as shown in this slide. So the net impedance will be Z is equal to square root of R square plus XL minus XC the whole square. Now to calculate the phase angle. From that impedance triangle or from that phasor diagram, you take the tan phi. Tan phi is equal to the net voltage difference VL minus VC, opposite side, divided by adjacent side, that is VR. That is, cancel out the current term, you will get it as XL minus XC divided by R. So to get the phase difference phi, phase angle phi, it is tan inverse of XL minus XC divided by R. Or you may get the phase angle by the simply taking the power factor cos phi also, that is simply opposite side divided by the hypotenuse R by Z. Taking cos inverse of R by Z also will be yielding the same phase angle. So the power is P is equal to VI cos phi or I square R. No need to derive it, because all these lectures, all these slides we have already learned that the power will never be utilized by the inductor or capacitor. It will be only utilized by the resistive element alone. So you may write the equation as VI cos phi or I square R itself. So the power factor cos phi is nothing but R by Z. Now the second condition that we are assuming a circuit is capacitive, meaning VL is less than VC, or you may write it as VC is greater than VL, or the circuit reactance in such a way that XC is greater than XL. So first look at the phasor diagram. Always start with the current vector. So draw the current vector OI first. Then you have to draw the voltage of the resistor VR. That is always in alignment with the current vector. So OA is drawn. That is nothing but VR, which is equal to IR. Now you have to draw the reactance voltages, that is VL and VC. So here we have assumed that VC is having more magnitude compared to that VL. So look there, VL, it is having a smaller magnitude, whereas VC, that is having a larger magnitude. So draw the VL, VL meaning the voltage across the inductor, which is always leading the current by a 90 degree. VC, which is having a higher magnitude, so the length will be more than that of VL. And for capacitance, we have already learned that the voltage will be lagging the current by an angle 90 degree. So VL and VC we have drawn. Now what you have to do is you have to calculate the net voltage difference. If VC is more, VL is having a lesser magnitude, so the net difference will be VC minus VL. So VC minus VL is nothing but AB. So you have got the two sides of the right angle triangle, OA and AB. Now resolve it using the triangular law to get the resultant voltage of the circuit. The hypotenuse OB is drawn, which is nothing but the total voltage V is equal to IZ. And the angle is phi. See the angle, it is not 0 or it is between 0 to 90 degree. Only thing is it will be either positive or negative depending upon the circuit is whether inductive or capacitive. Now from this phasor diagram you can easily draw the impedance triangle. Just remove the current terms. So you get OAB right angle triangle, where the hypotenuse term will be the total impedance of the network Z. The adjacent portion, that is OA, that will be the total resistance of the network R. And the opposite side AB, that will be the net reactance, that is XC minus XL. In this case we have assumed that the circuit is more capacitive, that is XC is having a higher magnitude that of XL. Therefore the net reactance will be XL minus XC. So here also we can calculate the current and the impedance. Here the total voltage V will be square root of VR square plus VC minus VL the whole square, because here we have taken that VC was having a higher magnitude compared to that of VL. So substitute for VR, VC and VL and bring the common term I outside the square root. So you get it as I is equal to V divided by square root of R square plus XC minus XL the whole square, where R is the resistance, XC minus XC is the net reactance. So that term is nothing but the impedance. Z is equal to square root of R square plus XC minus XL the whole square. So whenever you are doing the numericals, first you should find out whether this question, it is saying whether the circuit is more inductive in nature or more capacitive in nature. Depending upon this inductive or capacitive behavior, the impedance equation will vary. The phase angle you can calculate by tan phi, that is opposite side divided by the adjacent side, that is VC minus VL divided by VR. VC is IXC, VL is IXL, VR is IR. If you cancel out the current, you get it as XC minus XL divided by R. So if you take the phase angle, phi will be equal to tan inverse of XC minus XL divided by R. Or you may simply calculate the power factor cos phi. Phi will be equal to cos inverse of R by Z. Now few applications of RLC series circuit. This RLC series circuit, it just acts as a variable tuned circuit, or it may be used to act as a low pass or a high pass or a band pass or band stop filters depending upon the type of frequency. Then this also works as an oscillator, then as a voltage multiplier and as a pulse discharge circuit. More of these applications comes in the basic electronics field. Now some tutorials. The first question says that a series circuit, it consists of a resistor 300 ohm, a capacitor of 7.95 microfarad and an inductor of 2.06 Henry. If the supply voltage is 250 volt and 50 hertz, calculate the circuit current, phase angle and voltage drop across the each element. So the values are already given in the question. So first you should find out the inductive reactance and capacitive reactance. Then you have to check whichever is having the higher magnitude. Then only you can come to a decision whether the circuit is inductive or capacitive in nature. So first calculate the inductive reactance XL. XL is equal to L omega or 2 pi FL. So 2 into pi into 50 into L is given as 2.06. So we get it as 647 ohm. Next you calculate the capacitive reactance XC, that is equal to 1 by C omega or 1 by 2 pi FC. So that is equal to 1 by 2 pi into 50 into C is given as 7.95 into 10 raised to minus 6. So we get it as 400 ohm. Now compare this XL and XC, 647 and 400. Obviously inductive reactance XL is having the greater magnitude. Therefore you can say that XL is greater than XC. So the circuit is a inductive nature. So what will be the net reactance of the circuit? XL minus XC, because XL is having the higher magnitude. So higher magnitude minus lower magnitude. XL minus XC. So you get the net reactance, that will be 247 ohm. Now you have to find out the circuit current. In order to get the circuit current, you should find what is the total impedance. So the total impedance equation Z will be square root of R square plus XL minus XC the whole square. That square term is actually deleted out from there. There is a square. So you get it as root of 300 square plus 247 square. So you get 388.6 ohm. Now the first thing you have to find out is the circuit current I. I is equal to total voltage V divided by the total impedance of the circuit, V by Z. So it is 250 divided by 388.6. You get it as 0.643 ampere. Next is cos phi. Cos phi is R by Z. So it is 300 divided by 388.6. So you get it as 0.772. It is not ampere. That is just a wrong denotation. Therefore, the phase angle phi is cos inverse of 0.772. You get it as 36.46 degree. Now, will it be lag or lead? Since it is more inductive in nature, it will be lag. Now we have to find out the voltage across each element. So voltage drop across resistor VR is IR. So multiply the current and resistance value, you will get the answer. Similarly, the voltage across the inductor, that is VL. VL is equal to IXL. So you get it as 416 volt. Then voltage drop across the capacitor, that is VC. VC is equal to IXC. So you get it as 257.2 volt. Now, how would you draw the phasor diagram? Try it out by yourself. The phasor diagram will be exactly similar to what we have drawn earlier when the circuit was inductive. Exactly the same. Draw it here and write the magnitudes of V, VR and the net voltage, that is VL minus VC. If you write down the magnitudes to that same phasor diagram, you will be having the phasor diagram for the circuit also. So do not leave out the circuit diagram and phasor diagram. Even though it is not shown here, you should definitely draw it. Now let's try another problem. A resistance R, an inductance L and a capacitance C are connected in series. Only the magnitude of inductor is given. So you have to find out obviously the magnitude of resistance and capacitor. The alternating voltage is also given. The current is also shown. So you have to find out what is the value of R and C. Now first you have to check whether the circuit is more inductive in nature or more capacitive in nature. Okay, there is no way to find out XC. XL you can find out, but XC you cannot find out. So with comparing XL and XC, you will not be able to say that. For that, another hint is already given in the question. The voltage and current equations. Right? In the voltage and current equation, you may see the angles. Right? The current is minus 65 degree and the voltage there is minus 20 degree. Okay, so you have to subtract these two. Obviously, we know that the alternating voltage instantaneous values V is equal to Vm sin omega t. There is no particular lag or no particular difference phase angle term in the voltage equation. Whereas in the current equation, it could be either positive or negative. Right? It is written as 65 degree and 20 degree. So subtract the phase angles. Angle of the current minus the angle of voltage. 65, take the magnitude alone. 65 minus 20. So you get it as 45 degree. That is, the circuit will be a inductive circuit or a lag circuit. Okay. Now after getting or understanding that it is pure inductive in nature, you can calculate the magnitude of XL. XL is L omega. Okay. So L value is given as 0.01 and omega is given as 3000 from the equations of voltage and current. So you get it as 30 ohm. Now take the tan 45 degree, that is phi, that we have already calculated. So it is opposite side divided by the adjacent side. Net reactance X divided by the resistance R. We doesn't know whether it is XL minus XC or XC minus XL. Only from the phase angle we have assumed that the circuit could be inductive in nature. So we have taken the net resistance, net reactance as X. Tan 45 degree is 1. We know it. So X by R is equal to 1. So X is equal to R. And we know what is Z. Z is V by I. So V by I or Vm by I. If you convert it to RMS also, root 2 and root 2 will get cancelled. So it will be 400 divided by 10 root 2. That is 28.30. So now you have both the impedance and an equation. X is equal to R. So already the impedance equation Z square is equal to R square plus X square. Or Z is equal to square root of R square plus the net reactance square. Or Z square is R square plus X square. So in that X square position, you just substitute it as R square. Because earlier we have derived that X is equal to R. So you get it as a relation Z square is equal to 2R square. So what will be Z square root of 2R square? That will be root 2R. If Z is equal to root 2R, then R is equal to Z by root 2. That is 28.3 divided by root 2. So you get R as 20 ohm. The net reactance, we have understood it as XL minus XC. So what will be XC? XL minus X. That is 30 minus 20. So that is equal to 10 ohm. If you have XC, then you can calculate C. 1 by XC omega. So from there you will get what is the magnitude of the capacitance. 33.3 10 raised to minus 6 farad or 33.3 microfarad. Now this is one question. You may try out this question as a homework. If there is any doubt, please do ask me. Thank you.